I'm just standing by waiting for a radio interview. It's all about the word getting out that Jesus is back, and naturally they start off in Australia with the humorous side, but I sort of slide into the reality to make sure that these people get some idea what is going on in the world. So far we spoke to 4 radio stations, and good morning, how are you? Look, if it makes you feel better, but no, that's not necessary, no. Well, it started when I was about 4 years of age. I was spoken to by a voice which, as a little baby boy, I didn't know the difference. And it told me to go climb the fence into the next door neighbours, which I did, and go inside the house. And I was quite timid to do that. And went through this house, and I thought there was a lady in there who's going to catch me. And my mother is a person that was always arguing with someone, and the neighbours next door was no exception. And I come to this bathroom door, and this voice said to me, "I want you to go in." And I said, "Hey, there might be a lady in there in the nutty." A little baby boy, right? And I said, "No, it's okay, you can go in." When I go in there, there's this woman laying on the floor, and the voice said to me, "Now, behind the door in the corner is a little boy asleep. I want you to wake him up and step over the lady's legs, don't touch her, and take him outside. Then go tell your mother," which I did. Now my mother, she took no notice, but she did see the splinters on my fingers and toes, and she went to get the needle to dig them out. So I took off in fear and then climbed back over the fence again, because I had got the splinters by sliding down the fence, paling fence. The little boy had gone back inside again. By this time, when I went to get him out, the lady had turned a motley blue. And what had happened, she'd been electrocuted. All right. Now, I didn't know. I went back and told my mother. She's now took no notice. She's that type of person, and started digging the splinters out of my fingers, which really gave me the horrors. And then there was several hours later, she actually went in there, and the little boy was back in the room again, in the bathroom, and the lady was dead. So that was my first account, and I started to realise then, because I was a very smart little kid, and I started to realise that older people aren't that bright. And then, as time went on, I was at the Catholic school which I attended, St Bernard's in Botany in Mascot, near Mascot. And there was 2 boys, older boys. I was arguing. One was saying Jesus was an Essene, right? Like, what did I know? I'm 5 years old. And the other boy said, "No, he wasn't. He was a Sadducee." And I went into a rage and had a vision at the same time, and I screamed that Jesus was an Essene. And at that moment, I then had as if I was taken back in time to a point where Mary was talking to me. We were walking back from Egypt into Nazareth, and she said, "Now we are Essenes, and you mustn't tell anybody that we are Essene Jews, because if they find out about it, they will kill us." Right? Yep, absolutely. And I've had several over the period of time, but I've also seen ghosts, for example. My aunt died, and I seen her floating across the sky, and I told my mother, and she said, "Don't be stupid," and threw me out in the sun again. And my father came home and said, "Aunt Doc died today at midday," which is the exact moment when I seen the ghost. And it's been going on like that over the years. So I eventually crashed a truck in Canada in 1978. I crashed a logging truck off a cliff, which I owned. And it slid down this mountainside in the ice. And the truck turned over and crashed into this tall stand of trees, 185 feet above the ground, by the way. And I went into a light, the old tunnel of light that people never talked about in those days. Yeah, so I get taken up into the light, and I'm shown things in the heavenly state, and I'm shown, "You are the man." I said, "Oh, good Lord." So then I come back to the earth, and the message was that I've got to then work out the load. Yep. Yeah. Well, it is very similar to the earth in the sense that it shows you the earth in a perfect state of what's going to be, as opposed to what the earth is on as it is today. Well, no, you're in an environment which is exactly the same as the Earth, but everything's peaceful and beautiful, and there's angelic beings all around you, and there's wonderful things happening, and it shows you what's going to happen in the future. But it also tells you who you are and what's going to happen, and people reincarnate. They keep on coming back to the Earth. So, oh, that's what I was told. Angelic beings. Now, it sounds a bit strange, I know. You know, I'm a very logical person. I mean, I'm the first one to be an atheist about all this kind of stuff. But when it happens to you, you think, hey, there's got to be something more to it all. So what my task turned out to be was to work out the creation process and what the Earth is all about. And it's all based on numbers that relate back to the Hebrew and Greek and Aramaic languages, because they're all number languages. And you've got, well, I suppose you could call it that, but it's got a bad name, numerology. But what happens is the Earth is moving northward at 43,200 miles per hour, and it's going to cross the Milky Way galaxy equator on the 21st of December 2012. And at that point in time, that's it, game over. The 1,000 years of Christ begins. So people, of course, have been dumbed down over the years by the churches and religions overall, and the media, and basically, if you talk to people that's got any intelligence at all, they'll tell you, oh, we've evolved, and 3.5 million years ago, or billion years ago, we slid out the backside of a sea slug. So it's something stupid like that. But the reality is, you talk to a person who has had a near-death experience, and they will tell you absolutely that this is all nonsense. We are within realms. So we are crossing the Milky Way galaxy. Now, the beautiful point about that is, no one's talking about it. So astronomers, why? You'd have to ask yourself, why aren't they talking about it? This is the most fantastic thing in the Earth's history, that we are going to cross this 100,000 light year wide galaxy at a certain point in time that is known by the Mayans, who was given the information by angelic beings, and also the Olmec, which was 1,000 years prior to that, and the Bolivians prior to that. Yep. Right. All right, let's keep it simple then. Give me a simple question. Ah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the lunatic asylum's full of them. Yeah. What? Yeah, that started it. But it's all to do with the Great Pyramid in Egypt. This Great Pyramid in Egypt was not built by the Egyptians, who didn't have mathematics or a written language. It was built by what's known as the Shemites, that were descendants from Noah. Now the problem there is, if this is generally made known that the descendants of Noah built the Great Pyramid, you'd have to say, hey, if Noah existed, therefore God exists. Well, science doesn't want that. Well, it's in the pyramid, as I'm trying to say to you. It's all my numbers are in the pyramid. Well, it tells me in the pyramid by numbers my birth date, my children's birth date, my wife's birth date, and all these things are all then related back to First Chronicles in the Old Testament, which is based on the numbers of the generations of Adam through to David. And it's the key of David is what the Bible is actually on about, and no one in churches want to talk about, that the key of David is the Christ in the end time. Now, we are all God. This is the whole point. This is never mentioned in the Bible. It's been taken out. We are all God. So Abba and Amma is father and mother. And they created man and woman in our image, and all human beings have a female soul of Amma. That's right. Well, there's a thing, if I can tell you how to do it, the easiest way is if you look up DCA on YouTube, for example, and it's a type of acid that is used by, and has been used for a long time, for people who's got cancer. Go and do it. If you've got cancer, go look it up, take it, demand your doctor get it to you,